What's up, everybody? Tony Cutillo show right here, like we always do, talking all kinds of different stuff, man. That's the best thing about the Tony Cutillo show. Make sure you're following at Tony Cutillo show on all social formats. You'll see a link tree in there, get you everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, X, you name it. But most importantly, make sure you're liking and you're subscribing to this channel right here, which is where all the content will live. Now, I want to talk a little wrestling tonight. One thing about me is I'm a huge wrestling fan. It goes back to the 80s. Okay. I'm 46 years old. I grew up with the NWA. It was a big deal for me watching King Harley race, watching Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, the Four Horsemen, the Midnight Express, Jim Cornette, Rock and Roll Express. I remember, watching the Rock and Roll Express against Crusher Khrushchev and Ivan Koloff, the Russians, in that 1 hour match where Ricky Morton does the sunset flip and in a small package and they win. They win the belts, man. It was fantastic. And I look at where we're at right now, and we're at just a different trajectory when it comes to the WWE and AEW. And listen, all the independents as well. I mean, I watch everything. I really do. TNA puts on a fantastic product. They really do. I'm a huge Tom Latimer fan, huge Camille fan, obviously, who is his wife in real life, or now is making her name over there in AEW. But I want to talk about LA Knight. And I want to talk about, a lot of people mad that he lost the belt. And I kind of have my own theory. And I started out as a wrestling writer, God, 20 years ago, for EWN, eWrestlingNews.com, who's still doing great things, man. Shout out to Matt Boone and the crew out there. If he's still there, I'm not sure, but I was doing really, really cool stuff over there when I first started out. And I used to do a deep dive into theories and try to understand where they were headed. Now, it's a different time now under the leadership of Triple H. Totally different. I saw Hunter come up with a couple quotes the other day about, it doesn't matter what he wants. It's all about what the kids want, what the new generation wants, meaning the new generation within WWE. So I look at this and I always say, no matter what, Hunter knows the characters that work. He understands the characters that worked back in the day. And two, obviously, of the biggest characters ever will always be in that attitude era of Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, obviously, The Rock is still involved. He's on the board, part of the bloodline. And you see the lineage of the bloodline, right? You see it all over with so many of the Anoa'i family are out everywhere. But you've never really gotten that Stone Cold Steve Austin personality. And I looked at what happened at War Games, and I saw Shinsuke Nakamura, who I love, by the way, always thought that they never booked him correctly. And I think finally they're going to do it. And it seemed like this was rushed, right? It seems like it was rushed to me. It was like, bring him back. 4 weeks later, he's winning a belt. Why is that? What's going on? Why, because I look in my mind and say, okay, there was a lot of questions out there about could LA Knight at his age hold the world title and, obviously follow the script of what a world title holder needs to do with appearances and obviously matches and, you know, all the pay-per-views and all the extracurriculars. And a lot of people inside supposedly didn't think his body could probably hold up. He was too old. I completely disagree. And I think that the US title was kind of a test. Let's give him a belt and see if it works. And it worked, obviously. But the one thing about LA Knight that works even more is his, I wouldn't say charisma, so to speak, because obviously he does have a lot of charisma, but the way he kind of answers to nobody, toots to his own horn. He could be that guy that can be good or bad, doesn't matter. Heel or face, he's still going to be revered. Doesn't matter. That's the kind of personality LA Knight is. And it brings me to why this happened so quick with him dropping the title to Shinsuke. Now, I think obviously Shinsuke, they want to see before they decide, are they going to re-up this guy? Are they going to continue to build his character within WWE? And I look at that and say, okay, this twofold. They give him the belt. Let's give him a test. But what about LA Knight? Is it a coincidence that he drops the belt getting that close to the Royal Rumble? And could LA Knight be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin? And I sincerely say that. Now, I know people are going to drop in the comments and they're going to tell me I'm crazy, but just hear me out for a second. You got LA Knight, who, again, like I said, heel or face will always be revered. Stone Cold Steve Austin, heel or face, just like The Rock, will always have some type of appeal to the general consensus. This is what LA Knight has as well. LA Knight is definitely a person that you could see trumping authority, something that Stone Cold Steve Austin did all so well. And while you have everything going on with the bloodline and that story continuing to build, the one guy that was able to trump authority and show he could do whatever he wanted was Brock Lesnar, that you had on the active roster. That we don't even know what's going to happen with Brock Lesnar, but what we know though is that, listen, he can't hold a belt like Cody Rhodes has held has held the belt. And I think that Gunther has his own plan within the company of his trajectory. So I don't know whose belt it's going to be, but I'm looking at, and I know there was some CM Punk stuff the other night, but I'm looking at LA Knight winning the Royal Rumble, winning the world title at WrestleMania, and becoming the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. Being that guy that trumps authority, being that guy that butts heads with Triple H. Think about it. It's going to go right back to the way, but it's just going to be better, right? It's going to be better. Watch LA Knight coming out on Netflix, basically telling Triple H, up yours, right? Listen, no more PG rating. That only fuels the speculation in my mind that LA Knight is going to be thrusted into that new Skull and Bones character. So that's my theory. And I'm not going to keep this going. I'm not going to keep, these are rapid reactions, they're called. But I think of something and I want to keep under 10 minutes and just get some engagement going to see what you guys think, what you girls think. It doesn't matter to me if you think I'm right or wrong. I'm just curious. Do you think what I'm talking about has any kind of fruition of coming true? Because I sincerely do. Like I said, huge wrestling fan, used to be a wrestling writer, follow it to this day to a T. And everything I'm talking about to me says that LA Knight could be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin in the year 2025.